Hey, RetconRaider here. Today's video is dedicated to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, with special thanks to Revenant, Anerdinwarpaint, Antonio Hernandez, Exsellsior, Lima, Nathan Welch Jr., and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, let's get started. Is that him next to Irabeth, the hero who saved Kenabres? The Queen is coming! The Queen!
Rise, warriors. Today is a day of sorrow and pride. Sorrow because we weep for our brothers and sisters who perished in Kenabres. Pride because despite demonic treachery, our heroes repelled the attack and saved the city. I, Queen Golfrey of Mendev, declare this day the first day of the Fifth Crusade, and I am glad to introduce the one who will lead the attack on the forces of the Abyss, the hero of Kenabres, Knight Commander of the Fifth Crusade, your leader from now unto victory or death. And now it's time to rest. Everyone is dismissed.
You heard the Queen. Dismissed.
There. The troop review is finished. I'll give you some time to look around the camp, and then I shall expect your presence at headquarters.
Commander, please allow me to join you while you inspect our encampment. And welcome back to the Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous beta, as we get our first foothold in Act 2, which, as you may have guessed, starts off with quite a bit of dialogue. We've got new characters to meet, new quests to set up, and new events to foreshadow. With that in mind, we'll just jump right in and start powering through it. The old elf smiles when he hears your footsteps. Allow me to congratulate you on your victory, and on acquiring mythical powers capable of casting down the strongest of demons. Have you decided to join the crusade? I have decided not to, I'm afraid. My path and the path of the crusade lead in the same direction, but alas, they are not yet one and the same. After the demons were driven away from Kenabres, the path into the World Wound became open, if only temporarily. I'm planning on using this opportunity to visit... The elf falls silent. It doesn't matter now. I'd hate to bore you with the details of my venture, which may prove useless even for myself. However, I'll try to return to the Crusaders and aid them in their confrontation with the demons after I'm done. I hope to meet you again, in this world rather than the next. Well, that is a shame. I did find those pages you were looking for. The storyteller carefully takes the pages from your hands. His fingers touch the ancient letters gently, examining them lightly, following their lines. I see myself, young, energetic, able to see. Oh gods, have I found the key to my past? Finally, I will find out what my own mind has been hiding from me. The elf's expression becomes withdrawn. The wrinkles on his face soften. Thank you, Creed. And please, follow me to my story. Let us embark on this journey together. The storyteller inhales sharply a few times and begins his story. They are leaving. The people of Keonan faced the coming Earthfall, and admitted that they were incapable of handling this disaster. Proud rulers, artful crafters, brave warriors, wise mages, and skilled healers. All of them hurry to the gate to Sovirian, looking around fearfully. A clean, safe world is waiting for them there. My people decided not to fight for Golarion. I am ashamed, and I am sorry for them. Their hearts wavered in the face of the catastrophe. But my will is strong. I am staying. My kinsfolk are looking at me angrily. How dare I diminish their decision with my recklessness? My choice makes them cowards, traitors of their own home. One of them, my former mentor, looks at me bitterly. He hands me a neat notebook with a tree bark cover. In case you change your mind. With a heavy sigh, he returns to the line of those departing. Forgive me, brothers and sisters. I watch the gate of the Sovirian stone close, separating me from them. It's time for me to go, too. I open my master's notebook. These are his notes about traveling between worlds. In case you change your mind. He hopes the burden I shouldered voluntarily will be too much. I will lose heart and find my way to Sovirian. That will never happen. My mouth set stubbornly. I tear my master's notebook to pieces. I use my forced pride as a shield against my fear of what is to come. Why did the elves decide to flee, not fight? The storyteller's lips purse with disdain. They are afraid to lose what they have. They were rulers, long-lived and powerful. They valued their lives and sunshine too much to enter a fight with the aftermath of Earthfall. Your mentor was a mage. Then you must be too, yes? Yes. I am an archmage, and this title is well-deserved. I have acquired delicate mastery and succeeded in many areas of magic. But curiosity has always pushed me toward new knowledge since the first day of my apprenticeship. And, what's this Sovirian stone? A magnificent crystal bent into an arch by a mighty hand of an ancient divine creator. A great gate to other worlds. It breathes power. It dreams of eternity. Why were you so angry with your fellow elves? I spent many hundreds of years in Keonan. I have always admired the way my kinfolk cared for the forest that was our home. But the rest of the world seemed to mean nothing to them. But I love Golarion, all its places, all the forms it manifests in. I traveled widely and then came home and told my kinfolk about my travels. But they weren't interested. They only cared about Keonan. Their lack of desire to hear about the wider world makes me sad and angry. What happened next? Earthfall happened at night. I am standing at the top of my tower, many miles to the north of Keonan, and I see a blaze far in the south. I hear a horrendous rumble. The air is groaning, giving way to a huge rock, rushing down on my world. And then, a blow, vibration that penetrates everything, reaching down into the bowels of Golarion and up to the vaults of the sky. Crunching bones, blood from burst vessels filling my eyes with darkness, drowning in timelessness, along with countless denizens of Golarion. Never before have we been so united in our feelings. When I come around, the darkness remains. My first terrible thought, I'm blind. But no, little by little I begin to see the stone wall. I am alive, but why is it so dark? The answer is quick, the smell of ash everywhere. The great burnt sacrifice filled the air with incinerated particles of what was recently the continent of Aslant. Great clouds of ash covered the sky, cutting us off from the sun and the moon, dooming us to dusk at day and complete darkness at night. My heart sinks with fear. Treacherous thoughts fill my mind. Why did I stay? Why didn't I run like everyone else when I had the chance? I clench my teeth and stand up to watch Earthfall. Proudly, like the last Archmage of Keonan should. Will my world really perish like this? Will I perish? No, that will never happen. I am still alive, and I can fight Earthfall and the darkness, not run from it in a blind panic like my kinfolk and my cowardly teacher. But what can I do? I will not stop the disaster. I will hardly be able to save empires from their destruction. What can I do? I am but one Archmage, powerful and weak at the same time. What is Earthfall? A disaster of untold proportions. An unborn planet dropped on Golarion by blind fate or someone's evil will. A blow so strong that the continent of Aslant is destroyed within moments, turned to ashes, wiped off the face of Golarion. In this burnt sacrifice, clouds of ash and dust are born, stealing our sun. Without the warmth of our star, the air cools, the soil is barren, dark creatures crawl out of their lairs to rule. And the most frightening thing, without the sun, all hope dies in the heart. This is the age of darkness. And what was that tower you mentioned? It's my retreat to the north of Keonan. My home away from home, my observatory. From its top I watched the stars, and, when they were correctly aligned, the other worlds as well. Here in the northern wastelands I found the highest mountain and built a tower on top of it. On clear days I could see the mist over the lake of mists and veils in the east. That's how high I was. What are you going to do next? I don't know. I need to think. My opponent, Earthfall, is much stronger than me. Without noticing, the storyteller raises his voice to a shout. It is merciless. It does not simply destroy life. It kills an era, ending the greatness of Golarion's civilizations. They will sink into oblivion, be forgotten as if they never existed. I need to think. The elf suddenly winces and is silent for a few moments as he calms his heavy breathing. Forgive me, I shouldn't have raised my voice. This story was much harder than many before it, most likely because I played the main role in it. It's so strange to see myself, feel the emotions tearing me up inside, those that I felt a long time ago, and not remember them. It's like I split. I became both the storyteller and the main character. Too bad the story ended at that moment. Please, if you find other pages covered with ancient elven writings on your travels, bring them to me. I might be able to shed some light on my past, and we will find out how my story ended, and perhaps even why I forgot it. I don't know. That's starting to make it sound like you forgot it for a very good reason. But thank you. Thank you for the story. Thank you for helping me remember it. Oh, and before we leave, we have that relic to reassemble. Storyteller, revive this relic for me. The elf cautiously uncorks the vials and begins to weave spells. The essence evaporates, turning into light that pours onto the buckle. The light thickens, becoming gold. The Covenant of the Inheritor. That's the name of this relic. This buckle once adorned the belt of a glorious knight from Mendev. It is the embodiment of a promise made to a young girl by a powerful deity. A great promise that has changed much in the world. When you touch the revived relic, a strange vision comes to you. It's as if you can see the events that happened to it in the past. A burning sensation spreads across your chest from the very spot where your mystery wound sometimes opens up. What is this? The influence of the storyteller's spells? Or is it something else? I had a vision. The old elf frowns. How strange. You are an amazing mortal. No one has ever shared my visions with me before. What do you think caused this? Perhaps these things have something to do with your destiny, or the fate of someone related to you. I don't have an answer, only advice. Look for such relics. Look for what will link them all, and you will know the truth. I see. Thank you. Return with new stories. I will be waiting. I wish you interesting adventures. Let's have a look at this buckle real quick. Which appears to be a cat, so we're already off to a good start. Oh boy, okay. Hold on. Holy symbol, placed on the belt, emits a 30-foot aura, +2 to spell penetration, and weapons become good aligned and count as if they were made of cold iron. Wow. Okay, well, we're not going to worry about the rest of this stuff just yet. I do think it's important. The storyteller basically told us as much, but it's also like 4 pages long, so I'll just put a pin in that and add it to our to-do list for later down the line. For now, I think we've got plenty of other things on our plate. I hope we meet Discari and Baphomet soon. I have numerous questions for them. Thank you, Nenio. Your input is invaluable. This is Nuradendoar's tent. It seems she brought a lot of unnecessary items along with her. We can fix that. Hylor and the Secrets of the Needle Glens. Interesting. Hylor's our Pathfinder contact. Without a shadow of a doubt, expecting nothing in return, the life and feats of Lord Exsellsior Tresbot. By Nuradendoar. Oh, okay. So this book was actually written by this mysterious Nura. I'll have to earmark this one for a closer look once we actually meet them. Might give us better insight. Alchemist's Fire. Assorted Scrolls. Booze. On the Nature of the Divine. Okay, we'll do a quick lap around the camp. There are a lot of conversations that are only available right now, and some of these are actually pretty important. Ah, here you are, you bold and daring troublemaker. Daeran flashes a contented smile. Our short acquaintance comes to its end. Very soon you'll go on with your crusade, where you'll eat horrible soldier rations, try to sleep among the snoring of a military camp, wake up because of freezing cold, constantly see long faces of all kinds of pious prigs, and finally perish in some demon's maw. I have a road ahead of me, too. I've just rented a sailboat in the south. I also hired an excellent chef. and all sorts of other entertainments. Well, we've all got different needs. Daeran pauses, then suddenly adds in a more serious voice. You know, I feel genuinely sorry. Pardon me if it sounded like a mockery. I just can't switch my venom gland off so easily. You intrigue me. We could have spent a little more time together. But of course, Daeran grimaces, not in these conditions. Let the Crusaders go to the Abyss, and let the demons go to the Crusaders. And along with them, let this entire soldiers and priests pastoral get out of my sight. If you feel like you don't belong here, go. But I'd like to see you again someday in the future. Will you throw a banquet for me to celebrate our victory in Drezen? Victory in Drezen? Your optimism is charming. Daeran smirks, then focuses up a little and goes on in a more even voice. Well, if you prove lucky enough to survive, by some miracle, find me. Perhaps I shall even remember you. No promises, though. In any case, I intend to wait till the army departs. I love goodbyes, especially when it is I who's staying and someone else who is headed to meet a dreary and hopeless end. Sometimes it is useful to contemplate on the unfairness of this life. Well then, goodbye, Commander. I assume I shall be your most precious memory on your disgusting and exhausting way, leading to the pointless slaughter of the battle. Or at least the memory that is most charged emotionally. Daeran smirks, and seems to lose any interest in you. Or at least pretends to. Ah, Daeran. I will miss you. Kind of. I propose a toast to a fate well-deserved. Yeah, that sounds about right. The Count is so gallant, so handsome, and, most importantly, ever so rich. It's hard to imagine a more agreeable gentleman. Yeah, I guess that's one way to describe him. When you are no doubt being paid to do so. Hey, Lan. What are you looking up at the sky for? You think winged demons are about to fall on us? Maybe they will, but I actually just like looking at the sky. Clouds, you know? I haven't seen them since I was a kid. I almost forgot what they looked like. Hey, Creed. I was just trying to say the Knight Commander commands the Knights really fast, and I almost twisted my tongue. Oh, well, that does sound like quite the revelation. Thank you. Thank you, Lan. Also, thanks for punching Kaiser right in the face. We all saw that. I'm just grabbing the most obvious stuff right now, but I will have to do a more thorough sweep off screen. They do love hiding things in every corner and ditch. These are the fighters of the Eagle Watch. I personally chose every one that's standing here, and I'm ready to vouch for each of them. So many of our own have perished, and for what? For us to keep fighting. For a day to come when no one else will have to die. Yes, you're right. Thank you, little girl. Ember, up to her usual antics. I've seen so many happy faces today. It's so good. Finally, we're on the offensive. I'm so tired of hiding in a hole. Well, good for you. Tirabade's tent. This is mine and Anevia's tent. We're both used to traveling, but the Queen insisted our tent be furnished like a commanding officer's. Half plate of vigor. Ooh. +2 half plate. That also grants a +2 enhancement bonus to Constitution. I'm sure she won't mind if we borrow this. Forever. I don't think this will actually change our net AC. Yeah, we gain 1 enhancement bonus, but we lose the dex bonus. But the +2 con is nice. Adventures of a Fearless Crusader. Briggy the Sausage Maker. Well, that sounds like quite a book. But I will reluctantly skip it for now. I'm going to try to stick with just the written material that sounds directly relevant to plot stuff. This massive bed is clean and neatly made. Only commanding officers are allowed such luxury during marches. I do like the 60s sitcom setup. 2 beds side by side. Very chaste. There's our command tent, but we don't want to go in there just yet. These are the Knights of Kenabres, all that's left of the orders that were billeted in the city. First Irabeth, now another upstart commander. Our queen sure does like them wet behind the ears. What did you say, sir? Nothing, Commander Tirabade. Happy to serve. What am I doing in this war? Maybe I should have stayed at home. A bit late to be fretting about that, my friend. We outfitted this tent to be used as our chapel. Even the less pious crusaders will come here to say their prayers when the final battle is upon us. I've seen it happen in my previous campaigns. Altar of Sarenrae, the Healing Light. Altar of Desna, the Great Dreamer. This place has been sanctified. Altar of Iomade, the Light of the Sword. Altar of Erastil, the Old Deadeye. And Altar of Torag, Father of Creation. What, no altar to Caden? I guess that would be wherever we keep the booze, right? Infirmary. This is the field hospital. Alas, the clerics of Kenabres suffered especially heavy losses, so we're in desperate need of healers. We are few, but the gods are with us. The prayers of good people around the world are with us. Dear lady, you've been standing here for a long time. Would you like to help? Who, me? No, I definitely would not. Please, act like I'm not here. I just like to watch people work. Cam, you are being extra creepy right now, and very much reinforcing my decision to drop you from our active roster. In Search of Joy. Confessions of a Heretic. Some nice, light reading for the injured and dying. Beautiful day, isn't it? Yes, it does seem quite lovely in this hospital tent. Teacher, what's this word? Let me see. Orthopraxy. It means things should be done right, not slapdash. A stout old man with a fuzzy gray beard greets you with a deep bow. Well met, Commander. You've caused quite the stir. Everyone thought Kenabres was done for, but the gods had other plans. That was quite a blaze over the Great Garrison. All the vermin running out with their tails between their legs. And who are you? Viscely Raximus, former rector of the Kenabres Temple of Abadar, and now your humble servant. In times like these, one cannot serve the god of cities, while sitting comfortably behind a city wall. You pursue a sacred cause, and I will help you in any way I can. I await your orders, Commander. Lead us onward to Drezen. How'd you end up on the battlefield? Everyone here has a story like that, but mine is a rather boring one. Believe it or not, it was bureaucracy. When the old rector of the Kenabres Temple died, may Abadar rest his soul, the church required a replacement. I volunteered and served for 30 years without incident. I prayed, organized festivals and funerals, bought candles, sanctified water, boring, mundane things that make up the daily routine of civilized society. But then civilized society failed, and it was time for me to go to war. Praise Abadar, who led me through the ruins to the defender's heart. I see. And who's that boy with you? This one? Kiado the Shepherd, my apprentice. He's a smart boy, and his faith is strong. He serves Erastil, though, but there's still something he can learn from an old servant of Abadar. He'll be a great cleric when he gets a little older. What kind of help can I expect from you? First, if you need a scroll with a divine spell, I have a lot of them. Something for every emergency. Second, while you're at the camp, I can read any scroll for you. Guaranteed, no surprises. And you'd better not leave camp without a cleric. I won't be going with you, so you'll need someone else who can read scrolls. Got it. Thanks. I should get going. We actually met Raximus back in the Defender's Heart, but I held up on talking to him there because he's not really relevant till Act 2. There are fighters here that Her Majesty brought from the capital. Too bad they're only recruits. But that's all right. We'll bring them up to speed. I hear a Seelah nearby. And Layla, how you doing, sweetheart? A group of soldiers is talking loudly, laughing joyfully, and passing around a flask. So picture this. My sword is by the fire, there's 2 goblins about to snatch it, and 3 more are digging through my tent. And I'm sat in the bushes wearing just my mail shirt, wondering what the blast to do. An old mercenary taught me about the mail shirt. You can't sleep in armor, but it's not so bad in mail, once you get used to it. Too bad no one told me not to go into the bushes without my sword. So what did you do? What did I do? I barked like crazy. Goblins are afraid of dogs, you know, so they all went wild and started running around. I spot my sword, and they spot me. So I jump over to the fire, wearing nothing but my mail shirt, and I grab my sword and I yell in my big, tough voice, "O Inheritor, grant me the power to crush these filthy creatures." My sword's shining, the goblins are screaming, I jump to attack them and they fight back, but I fought them off somehow. But ever since then, I never take a step without my weapon. Seelah takes a sip from the flask. Ha ha ha, that's some story. Hey, stop gulping, leave some for us. We've only just set off and you're already drinking? And with the queen in the camp? Stop this at once. The knights quickly snap to attention. Seelah raises the flask and says loudly, "Right you are, Commander Tirabade. We are but drinking to the Queen's health." "I'll drink to that. To Her Majesty's health." Irabeth rubs her forehead with the palm of her hand. "Commander, are you sure this is the right way to train your soldiers?" "Never mind, it's your business." Seelah really feels like a better fit for Caden than Iomedae. You do remember that we promised to help Elan search for the ring at the abandoned camp? It's on the way to Drezen. We should have time to drop by. Yep, it's on my list. In fact, I think that's one of the first things we'll be doing once we break camp. May Kenabres be damned. Well, that sounds intriguing. I think we'll actually have a look at this one. Anonymous pamphlet. I spit on the streets of Kenabres. I spit on its granite walls and its stained glass windows. If tomorrow the ground trembles, splits apart, and devours this cursed city, I will not shed one tear. No one here, not a single soul, deserves any compassion. Everyone who lives in this city is a criminal. If there were any justice in this world, every one of them would be hanging from the gallows, Prelate Halrin and Queen Galfrey chief among them. Ask anyone on the street what they know of mongrels. The answer will be dumb silence or the lowered eyes of a scoundrel who knows their crimes, but doesn't want to think about it. Mongrels, a disgusting nickname, which the residents of the city have given to the brave Crusader heroes who defeated the forces of hell, but paid for it with their health. Covered with scabs and tumors, bloated and gnarled, they were no longer beautiful enough to be tolerated by the very people they'd saved. As a reward for their heroism, the city dwellers exiled them to the sewers and damp caves beneath the city. The author of these words went down and spoke with them, and I'll have you know that the ugliest of them is more noble than all the paladins of Mendev, not to mention that head-chopping prelate and its murderous queen. And if any pretend that today's city dwellers aren't responsible for the crime of their grandfathers, then I will spit in their face, for the grandchildren of the exiled are still down there, crawling in the mud and eating garbage. And everyone who knows about this and does nothing, and everyone who should know but prefers blissful ignorance, I say they're all guilty, and they repeat the same crime every day. And as long as this doesn't change, any citizen who desires to fight a demon should take a knife and stab themselves in the stomach. For your city is already a hell, and you are no better than the demons. And if anyone would repent and right this terrible wrong, they should turn their weapons on the prudish paladins who preach good, but defend an order that flies in the face of justice. Down with the paladins! Down with Prelate Halrin! Down with Queen Galfrey! You know, I get the sentiment, but that really also kind of strikes the tone of a deliberate agitator. It makes you wonder if that note was actually penned by cultists, agents of Baphomet looking to sow discord among the ranks. A well-dressed dwarf is lecturing a motley company, shaking her ladle at them belligerently. Noticing you, she flings up her hands. "Good afternoon, your commanderness. Do you remember us? We're the crew from the next-door theater company, the one you saved in Kenabres, back when you weren't your commanderness yet. As you can see, we've come on the campaign with you. We signed up to clean pots and mend the soldiers' clothes. Keeping up a theater is expensive, so we all have to take side jobs. But we don't stop what we're doing. we are going to put on a play about your legendary feats. Of course, the crowd scenes are difficult. We can't find the people to play the hordes of demons. And we decided against using a ritual to summon real demons. Luckily, we have Master Chem. He's invented a way to solve this problem using sound. We caught a pig and some piglets who ran away from a burned-out village. The glum and husky half-orc mumbles softly. We put the piglets in a box and scare them a little. And the sound they make is just like an approaching demon horde. But the most important question is, of course, choosing the lead actor who will play the Great Knight Commander. We had a right Barney over it, breaking a number of lances as well as a shovel, a rolling pin, and a set of back scratchers. But we just couldn't decide no matter what. Maybe you can help us. We have 2 candidates that are most suited to the role. One will have the honor of conveying your heroism upon the stage, Commander. I feel like I normally get more options than this. I very distinctly remember in the previous build she offered to have 2 gnomes stand on top of each other and take turns reciting your lines. That would have been my go-to. A Cyclops actor? He's completely tame, believe me. Has a few issues with articulation, but what a powerful physique. We'll make him a nice costume, wash him up, brush his hair. Truth be told, in our show you mainly just make short, heroic exclamations at the fateful moment. Like, "Onward," or "We'll never give up," or "My heart burns with courage." Lambkin can definitely handle the script. Wow, that really does encapsulate Creed, doesn't it? What about this half-elf? Of course. Lily is most impressed with you, and wants the role very, very much. Differences in appearance don't matter. She's a wonderful dancer, which would allow us to introduce elements of ballet into the play. Oh yes, that does sound like an accurate representation of our half-ton walking scrap pile, waddling gracefully across the battlefield, cat in tow. I don't suppose you have someone who's a bit closer to my physique? We're a small and poorly funded theater, and we only have a few actors. But they're all so talented, one of a kind. I've chosen the ones that are the best fit for your role. Trust my vision. I have more than a few successful plays under my belt. As Ember has so eloquently pointed out in the past. The entire crew looks at you, holding their breath. I will be played by Lambkin the Cyclops. Wonderful. Sorry we took you away from all the important things heroes and commanders do. We're off to rehearsal. I mean, first we'll wash some pots, then we're off to our rehearsal. Let's go, you lazy lumps. Don't embarrass old Grandma now. Of course, if you don't want to mess with these guys, you can always just kick them out too. That is certainly an option. Lambkin is my name. I am actor. That you are, Lambkin. We're all very proud. Oh yeah, and there's the gnome twins. So they are still in the game. They just weren't an option for some reason. Weird. Maybe it's locked behind hidden qualifiers. Hey, brother, you're looking pretty thin. All this mess has you losing weight? You've got to eat, or we'll look like a pear in that long coat of ours. I'd rather shovel horse shit than soldier's grub. Shit smells better. Wouldn't be surprised if it tastes better, too. Well, that is just lovely imagery. Thank you. But yeah, see, they even make reference to standing on each other's shoulders when playing taller characters. Alright, that's enough of the theater and their unholy acting talent. Let's go check out the quartermaster, and I think we're pretty much done. After that, we'll wrap things up with a nice chat with the Queen, which I believe is fully voiced. So that'll be a nice way to wind things down. Oh, Jernog.
Yes, yes. 3 cheers for the commander. Now answer my questions. Where are the mail shirts? According to the paperwork, we're supposed to have 50. I personally deposited the money for them in the Army's treasury. And why is there hardtack in the barrels that are supposed to be filled with corned beef? I demand answers.
Your corned beef's in the cooking pots. Turns out it was from last year. Needs to be eaten before it spoils. And we're saving the hardtack for now. As for the mail shirts, they're on the troops. That's what they're for, aren't they? Not for me to rest my jacksie on when the lads are heading off to battle soon. That is a fair response. Haha, Horgus. The angriest altruist in our troop. Let's see here. Good day. Do you remember me? I'm Jernog. We spoke in the Defender's Heart. So you're the commander of the crusade now? Erastil knows it's hard to imagine someone worthier of taking up the post than the savior of Kenabres. May the good gods help you prevail.
Jernog, have you joined the crusade?
Don't take it amiss, but no, I haven't. I have my own task. I am needed in Chili Creek, a tiny hamlet which, due to some oversight, has been left without a priest these many years. I'm about to set sail for there. I'll be making my journey along Old Man Selen. Right. And then these other 2 options look to be the same stuff we talked to him about back in the Defender's Heart. Just in case we missed talking to him there, I suppose. That is a nice reminder, though, that we do need to swing by Chili Creek when we get the chance. Waldiff? Do you know what the Queen does to people who keep her waiting? I don't, but I know better than to find out.
The Queen is expecting you, Knight Commander, so I shall not detain you. We can talk later, after our sovereign departs.
I'm picking up some subtle hints here. The burly soldier with an impressive beard greets you with a broad smile.
Wilser Garms, the camp quartermaster, at your service. How may I be of help? Tell me about yourself.
The quartermaster looks away sheepishly.
There isn't much to tell, really. I was born in Kenabres in a humble family. I got an education, taught myself to read and write. Got drafted into the army. Spent 3 years as a shield bearer in the first line. I left after I did my time and joined the Stonemasons Guild. Then moved on to shipwrights and rose to a crew chief. Sailed to Ibaria twice and returned with goods. Made some money, built a house, but haven't started a family yet. I think I will after we are done with this war. But a few years ago, something started gnawing at me. I felt I didn't want to go home. There was a storm brewing on the horizon. You know what to do when there is trouble in Mendev? You go to the recruiter and sign up for the army. And so I did. At first, they wanted to make me an infantry sergeant, but then decided I would be a better fit for the supply department. They said I can handle the army property, and I'm pretty handy around a warehouse. Not to mention I know how to manage a band of helpers. That's how I became a quartermaster. Wilser gives you a shy smile and shrugs, as if this was a trivial matter, and the whole story was entirely natural for a crusader. I see. What are your responsibilities? A little bit of everything. What's an officer to a soldier? A strict father. So what does this make a quartermaster like myself? Something like their mum, that's what. I'm making sure the lads have everything they need to defeat the enemy and come back from the battle in one piece. Wilser starts ticking off his fingers. That means food, firewood, medicine, tents, mended clothes, fixed weapons. The horses must be fed and watered, the camp must be fortified by the evening and broken up by the morning. I'm making sure the wages are paid on time and the wagon wheels don't squeak. And then there are reports. Now that I've mentioned it, I never realized how many chores I actually have. Yeah, what do the soldiers think of their new commander? They mostly tell tales about your unusual power, but don't shy away from discussing your personality, too. Soldiers, they're always like that. Even if Iomedae herself descended from heaven, they'll tattle about how tough her grip on the sword is, and how good she looks in her armor. The general impression about you is that you're a tough fighter, a true warrior. That is the best kind of commander. The one who knows in his own experience how it feels to hold a blade during a long fight. And how are things in the camp? Iomedae be praised. Everything is fine. We are well supplied, nobody has to go hungry, and the sick... Well, you can't run a military campaign without someone getting sick, but they aren't taking more beds than usual. Except what? Except what, Will, sir? Except nothing, apparently. Must have just been the wind. Carry on, I guess. Alright. That is all of our initial setup, except for our follow-up with Queen Galfrey. Took us about 50 minutes, longer than I'd like, but the important thing is we got through it, so we won't have to worry about it next time. There will be a couple of new characters we'll have to talk to next time around before we can actually get back out in the field, but that shouldn't be too bad. Let us proceed. Leoder Hawkblade, Anerdinwarpaint, and Sociel. All three of those are characters we'll need to meet before we can actually leave. I think they all have quests for us. But like I said, we'll knock that out before we actually leave camp next time around. Hey, my stuff. I'll definitely have to do some rigorous inventory management once we're between episodes again. It's good to meet you, Commander. Happy to help the cause, Commander. My respects, Commander. I hope you will be able to spare me some time after all the formalities. Ooh, very proper. I like him. Great name, too. The Queen greets you with a stare. She has dropped the pompous air with which she just announced the Fifth Crusade. The face of the ruler of Mendev appears calm and thoughtful. She has made her move, and now awaits her opponent's reply.
Commander, I'm satisfied with the troop review, but I do not expect they will be sufficient for the task. You will have to prove yourself a shrewd leader and hire the necessary troops with the provided funds.
She gets quickly to the point.
I have chosen a target for your campaign, and that target is Drezen, our lost outpost within the Worldwound. The Sword of Valor was kept there, a banner that was once carried by Iomedae herself. Our greatest relic was lost when the city fell. I should make one thing clear from the start. The Sword of Valor is no mere symbol, but a powerful weapon against demons. The holiness of the banner weakens them, and robs them of one of their most dangerous abilities, teleportation. A forced march to Drezen awaits you. The Sword of Valor is kept somewhere within the Citadel. The demons probably think it's a hunting trophy. Its recovery is just as important as retaking the city itself. I hope the task is clear. I'm sending 2 specialists to help you, along with the soldiers. a historian, Nura Denduar, and a cleric, Soziul Vainik.
The queen nods to the human man and the young halfling woman standing next to her.
One of the famous inquisitors of the Church of Iomedae also wants to talk to you. The Honorable Leota, whom everyone calls Hawkblade.
Side note, I do appreciate that they're giving us the pronunciations.
I do not wish to keep you, Commander. The matter I must discuss with you is extremely important, but it is not directly related to the Crusade. You no doubt wish to meet your new comrades and speak with Her Majesty. Therefore, I shall leave you now, but I ask that you seek me out in the camp at your earliest convenience.
Hi! Listen, it's amazing here. It's like I'm in a ballad. There's knights in shining armor, deadly dangers, glorious feats. We are going to show those demons! I'm so tired of sitting in a library reading books about history. It's time I took part in it!
I'm glad to help our cause, Commander. If you have some time later, I'd like to speak with you further.
You'll have plenty of time to talk. You're the Knight Commander's people now, his trusted advisors and companions. Now then, will you please leave us? Irabeth, you can go too.
I have to say, when we met at the Defender's Heart, I never imagined you'd make me the commander of the new crusade.
Some actions may be deemed bold, or even extreme, and beyond those, there are some you might call the Queen's last resort. I am not a simple monarch. I am at war with the Abyss, a war which has lasted over 100 years. I cannot allow myself the luxury of caution. In you, I see a chance, and I am willing to stake everything on it. However, you cannot blame me for putting you in charge of the crusade. I only formalized what had already happened in the hearts and minds of many. People spoke of the power that descended upon you and helped you save the Wardstones from corruption and total destruction. Word of this feat quickly spread far beyond the borders of Mendev. There was no other person who could better fit the role of Knight Commander of the Fifth Crusade.
I have some questions about my mission to retake Drezen.
Of course. I shall answer.
How'd the demons manage to conquer Drezen in the first place?
That's a good question. Its walls were built by dwarf craftsmen, and the power of the Sword of Valor protected the city. Alas, where raging hordes failed, a single lying tongue was all they needed to succeed. The demoness Minago convinced a young and ambitious crusader named Staunton Vane that the banner belonged on the battlefield. He went on a daring and unapproved raid, and the banner ended up in the enemy's hands. The city fell soon after. Ever since then, for 7 decades, it has served as a citadel for the forces of the Abyss.
Staunton Vane. I saw him at the Great Garrison. He defected to the demon side.
Oh, really? I wasn't informed of this. After Drezen fell because of Staunton, he was nearly sentenced to death. He deserved it. In wartime, men are hanged for far less. But you have no idea what a terrible sight it is. A raging crowd of crusaders baying for blood. Never have my fighters looked so much like the demons we are fighting. I commuted Staunton's sentence and stripped him of his rank. Not just for him, but for my army and my country. We are not Hell Knights. We do not maintain discipline with public executions.
You should have sent him to exile. Let him go wherever he wanted. This way, he would either have to change his life for the better, or realize that he had no one to blame but himself.
Perhaps exile would have been a more merciful sentence than decades of service among those who despised him. I was hoping he might atone for his guilt with a heroic act, but he likely decided that atonement was impossible, and he might as well give himself over to evil.
Yep, pretty much. What forces are at my disposal?
everyone we saw today at the parade. First among them, the Eagle Watch, who remain a powerful force thanks to Irabeth's resourcefulness. Also marching with you are several minor knightly orders, as the minor volunteer units like to be called. And finally, I have personally selected some recruits from Nerosian. They have little in the way of battle experience, but great determination and a thirst to prove themselves. I've always thought that an army benefits from at least one such unit. These forces, as I said, are not enough for a march on Drezen. You will have to hire additional troops with the funds that have been provided to you. But for a brave commander, and I hope you are one, that is just the beginning. If you retake Drezen, recover the holy power of the Sword of Valor, and gain a foothold in the region, then new armies will join under your banner. The Fifth Crusade is only beginning. Many battles and victories lie ahead.
It's been decades, and no one has managed to retake the city. Why do you think we're different?
We have a chance now that we haven't seen in decades. But it's more than that. You created this chance for us by foiling the demon's plans in Kenabres. The army who attacked the city came straight from Drezen. Demon hordes from the Abyss are usually encamped there, but many of them perished on the streets of Kenabres. We must attack swiftly, before they can restore their forces. When the city is free and the Sword of Valor appears before our soldiers, they won't be sending in any more reinforcements. Demons cannot teleport into an area protected by the banner of the goddess.
What about long-term goals? Do you know how to get rid of the world wound forever?
Now you are talking like a real knight commander. However, answering your question is not easy. To win this war, we must bar the demon's way. There are a few planar rifts leading to the Abyss across the territory we call the World Wound. The best specialists we could find have tried to close them on separate occasions, with no success, as you may have guessed.
The Queen nods in approval, then frowns.
The World Wound is more than just a chain of portals to the Abyss. We do not understand its nature yet. The methods of rift closure known to magical science simply do not work here. However, we have a hypothesis, and a rather well-grounded one, that we must begin at the source of the problem, the place where the World Wound was opened. The main rift lies through the city of Iz and the Threshold Fortress, deep in the former lands of Socorus. We have never managed to fight our way so far and gain a foothold to allow the mages to explore the origins of the World Wound. So, the next step, after you succeed in Drezen, is an offensive push deeper into the World Wound, with the aim of reaching Threshold, the very threshold of the Abyss.
Socorus.
Wonderful.
Did you know that the souls of angels from heaven are confined in the ward stones?
Guessed as much. Many angels fought alongside us in the First Crusade. Heaven was unable to mobilize its full might to aid us, but individual celestials volunteered to fight for our cause. Then one day, they all vanished, saying that they were setting off on an important mission. Not long after, Iomede's herald erected the first wardstone in Kenabres, and then the others in cities across Mendev. Even back then, I had nagging doubts, but my faith in Iomede easily assuaged them. It is for us to serve the goddess after all, not to question her works.
A furrow forms in the Queen's brow.
Nevertheless, I am pleased that you solved the mystery of the wardstone in Kenabres and were able to save this gift of Iomede. It was a deed worthy of a knight commander of the Fifth Crusade.
The Queen subtly inclines her head in solemn acknowledgement of your service. You should know I received an unusual gift in the caves beneath Kenabres. In a vision, I saw the death of an angel called Lariel. Somehow, he was able to grant me the ability to reveal the light of heaven.
Lariel. I knew him. He disappeared shortly before the World Wound grew, and Drezen fell into the enemy's hands. In the chaos, We had more important concerns than investigating the fate of a single angel, even one so righteous and beloved as Larior. And afterward, matters took a turn for the worse. The angels left us to go on their special mission. It is so strange to hear the names I used to hear when I was young, like getting a message from the past. It is sad news, but it brings me back to the times when we strongly believed in our victory, and we rushed headlong toward it without fear. Could it be that such times have come again?
A smile, kind and sad, crosses the Queen's face. Do you remember this? The Queen's eyebrows shoot up in surprise. Wherever did you get this? I thought this relic was destroyed many years ago. How strange it is to see it whole again. At one time, it gave me hope. Queen Galfrey's hand twitches, as if trying to reach for the relic of its own accord, but the Queen stills its movement. I am pleased that this object will serve the Crusade once more. I had a vision of Iomade giving her covenant to you. The Queen's lips flatten into a hard line. I was young and did not fully understand the magnitude of the duty that had been entrusted to me. Iomade gave me hope and strength to see me through the trials ahead, and in so doing, she won my everlasting loyalty. Do you still remember the oath you swore in battle? Always. The Queen's gaze grows distant. No matter how arduous, no matter how dark the skies, no matter how much blood flows from my wounds, I shall stand with you. We shall fight for our loved ones and our friends, for the right to live and die free. We shall do everything we possibly can, and after that, we shall begin to do the impossible. And if the hour should come when our arms can no longer raise our swords, our bodies will become a shield to cover those who still have the strength to fight. I, Galfrey, Queen of Mendev, swear this to you. This is my vow. You withstood a blow from the traitor in that battle. I would proudly declare that to be true, and say that even Arilu Vorlesh could not kill me on her first attempt. But to do so would be boasting. I was protected by my goddess. However, I was glad to see that, no matter how great the traitor's power, it is nothing as compared to Iomede's might. Man. Obviously, the charitable thing to do would be to return it to her, but I really do feel like we could use that during this early stage of the game. I want to say there are more opportunities to return it later, so let's hold on to it for now. I would like to keep wearing this relic, if you don't mind. Then so you shall. What matters is that the covenant of the Inheritor has been recovered. Perhaps it should be in your hands now, because you have greater need of it. But should you ever feel that you no longer need this relic, I ask that you give it to me. I would be delighted to touch it again. Great, just as I thought. So where are you headed next?
Overlooking a spot of insubordination just at the moment. However, I shall answer you. I shall prepare the defenses at Nerosian and all the other border cities and plan the future of the Fifth Crusade. Does that satisfy your curiosity, Knight Commander?
Galfrey arches her brow. My queen, I'd ask you to remain with us. The Drezen campaign is the hope of the Crusade, and the blessing of Iomade that you carry may be decisive in this battle.
What is this I hear? A polite attempt to appeal to the conscience of an old sovereign?
The queen flashes something of a slightly astonished smile.
I don't know if you realize what you're suggesting. If our enemies in the depths of the wound were to discover that I was with your army, they would immediately send their most vicious demons to attack. They would stop at nothing to be rid of me, and thereby sow chaos across Mendev. But you are right. I shouldn't be sitting it out in the rear. I am a warrior queen, and a queen of warriors. yet my fighters have forgotten what I look like. Fine. I shall join the crusade, but on my own terms. First, I shall assemble my entourage and lead the parade out of the camp. I shall catch up with you later, along with a few hand-picked bodyguards. We'll change our armor, and I'll become a knight of a minor order and join the troops incognito.
Neat.
Until we approach Drezen, no one should know I am among you. But before we storm the city, I shall show myself to the troops and join the battle. Let it be a surprise for the demons. I hope you won't complain of my company on the road, Commander, since you were the one who insisted upon it. Do you have any other questions?
No, I think the task is pretty clear. Thank you.
Splendid. Ah, yes. We have one final matter to attend to. It should be rather enjoyable.
The Queen gives you an impish wink. Inappropriate.
Count, there you are. You received my instruction?
Okay, now I'm just uncomfortable.
I did, though I did not have time to read the thing before I was dragged before your majesty. In truth, I was readying myself to depart.
No matter. I trust you will forgive your sovereign for the rather brusque summons, especially when you learn what prompted it. As you are aware, he has recently been appointed my Knight Commander of the Fifth Crusade. I spent a long while pondering whom to appoint to the highly sensitive post of Commander's Field Attaché and Advisor Plenipotentiary without portfolio. Congratulations, Count.
The Queen makes a stately gesture in your direction.
It is a great honor, I suppose.
Daeran's cool expression wavers, but he seems not to be fully cognizant of what's happening. That, or he is holding himself tightly in check. What a great gesture, Your Majesty. I bet our dear Count would have been inconsolable if you hadn't given him a chance to serve the common cause.
I knew you would approve, Commander.
The Queen bestows a smile on you, then brings her gaze to rest on Daeran once more.
I had my doubts about whether you were ready for such a responsibility, Count, but your conduct in Kenabres has put my mind at ease. So, you will travel with the troops to Drezen. Only the commander may remove you from your post. But I trust that you will dutifully fulfill his orders and make a good showing of yourself. Especially since word of your appointment, Count, will reach the court at any moment. All of Mendev's nobility will be following your successes in service to the nation, including all of your devoted admirers. I even heard that one bard with whom you are particularly friendly has already begun composing a ballad to honor your heroic participation in the crusade and your faithful service to the commander here.
Your largesse truly knows no bounds, dear cousin. I am most gratified by the honor you have shown me.
The Count offers a bow, either as a sign of respect, or in order to hide his flushed face. Only the barest quaver can be heard in his voice.
Then let's get going. May Iyomade help us.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Thank you, Queen Galfrey. Though, I do like having Daeran around. Though I am sure he will be somewhat discontented with this situation. And that officially marks off the last item I had on today's checklist. Which is good, because we are now past the hour mark, so it took slightly longer than I anticipated. That said, we are now through the bulk of the setup for Act 2. We do still need to talk to a couple of NPCs on our way out, most notably Leoder, Sociel, and Mura. And that's just to collect a couple of quests and get some general plot hooks. But we should be able to return to the field next time round. See how the rest of the countryside has fared, whilst we've been preoccupied in Kenabres. With that in mind, we will hit the pause button for now. I'll take care of the vast amount of inventory management we've got piled up. And I'll do another quick lap around the map just to grab any items we might have missed. And we will pick up here next time, as we get to know the last few new additions to our troop, and finally get this show on the road. The long march to Drezen begins now. You know, once we take care of a few side tasks like finding a land's ring and seeing whatever it is these other people want from us. Adventure. See you then. Oh, and remember, although I do love playing Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, you can find out more about the game by visiting the official website, the official social media links, or the official store pages. And if you'd like to help support the channel, then feel free to push any of the buttons that do the things, or maybe even take a peek at the Patreon. Links are in the description.